I've decided to build my own chopping board, and by chopping board I'm not talking about something you would use for vegetables in the kitchen. I'm talking about a big outdoor chopping board that you essentially break up the frames of the fish. The problem with the fish when you bring them home, you take off the fillet if you will, and you freeze that up or eat that night, but the frame, you either, in my case, I either bury it in the garden, so at least I can use it with the plants I plant above it, and over time it will decompose and become part of the plant, or I will boil it up and actually put it in with my poultry and they will peck at it. So I do get a secondary use at it. What I do dislike is throwing it in the waste and then a truck coming and taking it away, because you're not getting the value out of it. What I have decided to do is to, instead of doing that, I thought what I would like to do is get more of a value back from the ocean. So I'm going to create a chopping board that I can hack it up, and then when we go back into the water, we can, the next time we can have it all, a bucket full of burley, and just start throwing it into the water, get a burley trail going, chum if you will, and really get those fish coming back in on something that we speared the time before. And you'll find when we do burley, usually we cut up a fillet of, say, a barracuda or something that we wouldn't eat, and chop it up into cubes and throw that over. But it's very easy for the fish to eat. It will bring fish in obviously, but they'll just like swallow it up, and then once it's gone, take off. I'm thinking with the frames, when we actually hack them up, there's more bones in there, so it will be more difficult for the, particularly those smaller fish, to come in and just steal the burley. They'll come in and still look at it, create the activity, but I don't think they'll be able to, they won't be as keen. They'll probably have second thought, so it should last longer and sink a little deeper. That's what I'm thinking anyway, with those bones and all that cartilage in there. They'll take some more time. So that's the plan. So I'm going to go construct it out of some wood I got from a mate who was redoing his house and took out some old wood, which is very hard. So you want really hard wood. This is exceptionally hard, very thick. This is going to be for using a hatchet on it. So that's the plan. I'm going to go make that now. So here's a bunch of wood that I'm going to make a do-it-yourself chopping board from. So I'm just going to size it up and measure it, cut it, put it all together, screw it together, and see if we can get something going. The wood is cut now. What I'm going to do is lay it out, how I'm going to set it up. Look at these 4 long pieces, which will be the top. You can see like that. These ones here will go underneath it, give it a bit of height. I want some height because I don't want to be bent right down. And then the 4 will go on top, essentially like that. You're getting an idea there. And what I have is I will attach some ends like that to create a box, because the fish, when you put them in here, they'll want to slide. They get really slimy. They'll want to slide it off the end. They'll keep them kind of trapped in there. It's not so bad if they're frozen, but when they're wet, they'll have a lot of slime and they'll be moving around. That'll hold them in there. You don't want an edge here because you're going to be hitting down with the hatchet, and you might hit your knuckles, and you want to be able to drag the pieces off into a tray or something as well. So that's big enough for a pretty big fish, because it'll bend in there. You can whack it in the middle and halve it, and then take one piece and start reducing it down. So I'm going to pre-drill a lot of this and put a lot of screws in here, because it's going to be hit quite hard with a hatchet. It's going to vibrate, so I need a lot of screws. I've got a lot of old ones. This is all recycled, so I'll use a lot of old screws. Whack heaps in here, and then it should hold it together. Put a couple of handles on it so you can move it easily, and then it should be good to go.
spliced up some anchor rope. I'm going to screw that on to give a handle on each end. That'll make it a lot easier to lift because it's quite heavy. So if you need to move it around, just make it easier. So that's all done now. That was a pain in the ass. I broke 3 drill bits in there, had screws break off, and started using nails, and I had to pre-drill the nails. This is really tough wood, but that's good because it can take a hit. And this is quite heavy, but I can lift it, so that's the main thing, and move it around. So this is going to serve a good purpose for creating that additional feed when we go back out into the ocean, the burley, the chum, for the next time. And hopefully we can convert some of that waste into new fish for the next hunt.